What's up, everybody? I'm Ken Jack from Lights Camera Barstool, and let's just get straight to it. Let's talk about this fucking crazy episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier that we just watched. We start off right where we left off in episode 4, with John Walker now trying to come to terms with the fact that he just murdered that flag smasher guy right in broad daylight. In his brain, you can kind of see him trying to justify the reprisal killing and saying like, hey, that's the guy that killed Lamar, even though that guy wasn't the guy who killed Lamar, it was Carly who killed Lamar. And right when he's in the middle of that, he gets interrupted by Sam and Bucky. They have sort of a standoff, and it reminds me of a movie that people are going to get mad at me for comparing this to, but it reminded me a little bit of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan stand off and he kind of comes to his own realization that, oh, this is why you're here. This is why you're trying to confront me right now.
You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!
No!
But with Walker, he manages to kind of like twist and distort reality for himself to let himself believe that the reason that Sam and Bucky are there is to sort of take the shield back because they want to be the ones to control who Captain America is. The three of them have this big awesome fight while Captain America and the Winter Soldier's like main battle theme is playing in the background, and you can see Walker sort of coming apart at the seams. There's one part where he like grabs one of them and he's like, why are you making me do this? It's an awesome fight scene, and the dynamics of it at points almost remind me of the scene from Captain America Civil War where they have the big fight with Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man. They managed to get the upper hand and beat Walker, and like his ending of that fight scene sort of transitions to the Cap confronting Bucky at the end of Winter Soldier music, which is a great score, by the way. Now, during this fight, Sam gets his wings torn off. An interesting note is that later on, Torres is like talking to Sam and he's like, hey, you want your wings? Like, they're broken, but you can take them back. And Falcon says, keep them. What we're seeing here is Torres being primed to become the new Falcon, which is a whole comic book arc. Walker gets brought up before a council and he gets stripped of the title of Captain America, and the US government just sort of tosses him aside, and in a sense it's like really heartbreaking. This series has touched on the veteran experience in America a lot, but I think that this moment specifically was the most on the nose just about how the US government mistreats veterans. Mostly because you can see the pain in Walker's face, you know, he's like, you trained me to do one thing, I've lived by your rules my basically entire life, and now you're tossing me aside like garbage. After this moment is the part that basically everyone is talking about, which is our introduction to Countess Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who is played by the amazing and hilarious actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Here's a quick breakdown of what she was all about in the comics, and reminder that might not be what she's all about in the series and Marvel Universe. She works at S.H.I.E.L.D., starting out as an agent but later on becoming a higher up in the organization. In fact, she was a one-time lover of Nick Fury. Good job, Nick. She eventually joins Hydra, taking on the moniker of Madam Hydra, which is part of a more complicated storyline involving Leviathan. Leviathan is an organization of ex-Soviets that was part of this three-way war between them, S.H.I.E.L.D., and Hydra. Now, the Countess was supposed to appear in Black Widow, and Black Widow was obviously supposed to come out well before Falcon and the Winter Soldier was ever released. Knowing this, it's kind of safe to assume that Leviathan is going to be part of the Black Widow plotline. Anyway, back to the story. Valentina sort of vindicates Walker, telling him, I would have done the same thing, you did the right thing, and I'll have a job for you in the future. Keep in touch. She gives him this little business card that's white on one side, black on the other, which is obviously a big part of this entire series. There's a gray area for superheroes, they don't always have to be black and white. In the meantime, Bucky has a really tense standoff with Zemo in Sokovia, and he has an opportunity to kill him, which I'm assuming wanted to do forever, but instead of doing that, he hands him off to the Dora Milaje, who promised to bring him back to the Raft, which is that big floating prison you probably remember from Captain America Civil War. But before leaving, Bucky asks them for a mysterious favor. While this is happening, Sam visits Isaiah Bradley, and Bradley kind of gives him his whole story. It's worth noting that the title of this episode in the series is Truth, and the first comic book appearance of Isaiah Bradley was titled Truth, Red, White, and Black. Isaiah tells Sam that he and other black men were unwilling test subjects and they were shot up with different versions of the serum, and they were told that it was for tetanus. At one point, presumably during the Korean War, a bunch of Isaiah's comrades are captured and brought to a POW camp. When Isaiah hears that the brass intends to level the entire camp as a way to get rid of all of their evidence of super soldier experiments, Isaiah breaks out of his facility, saves all of the troops, and brings them back home. If that sounds familiar to you, it's because it's almost beat for beat exactly what Steve Rogers did in Captain America: The First Avenger. When Steve Rogers did that, he was hailed as a hero. Everyone's celebrating, Steve Rogers, Captain America, he's the best. When Isaiah did it, he was imprisoned and tested on mercilessly by the government for 30 years. This is a really tough heart-to-heart between Sam and Isaiah tells him very bluntly, they will never let a black man become Captain America. You can see that Sam is really shaken up by this story, and he returns to his sister and his nephews, and he works on, repairing that boat that we saw a few episodes ago. Bucky shows up and gives Sam a box saying that it is a gift from Wakanda, and from that point on, I was basically in Brad Pitt mode just yelling, "What's in the box?" Bucky apologizes to Sam, saying, him and Steve didn't really consider the implications of handing him the shield. Sam returns the favor by giving Bucky a little bit of tough love, just letting him know that he's not going about things the right way as far as gaining retribution for his deeds as the Winter Soldier. A lot of people, when they're like suffering from something, they look for the magic pill, just something that can fix all of their problems in one shot so that they don't need to do the upkeep and the work. And Sam tells him bluntly, you gotta do the work. Instead of killing the people that you enabled as the Winter Soldier, go give closure to the people that have no way of getting it otherwise. They part ways, and this is where Sam decides he's going to be Captain America. And his logic is just, if I don't do this, then the sacrifices of people before me, like Isaiah Bradley, were for nothing. He has his big training montage, getting himself prepped up for the shield work, and my favorite move he does during it is the Captain America signature flip. While this is happening, Carly and the Flag Smashers go to a GRC camp, which has been forcibly evicted as reprisals for the Flag Smashers' actions. And Carly gives the Flag Smashers a little pep talk, just saying, gloves are coming off, we can't play fair anymore, we gotta fight dirty. And this is an interesting part, because we see Sharon Carter calling up Batroc, who we saw got his ass beat by the Falcon in the first episode. And she offers him a job. This job turns out to be delivering gear to the Flag Smashers, and that's in return for some help killing Sam Wilson. Their plan is to interrupt the GRC before they can vote on the Patch Act, which is a plan to forcibly expel all blipped immigrants back to their home countries. They have a little Hail Hydra moment as Flag Smasher allies sort of stop the vote and start detaining all the council members. We end the episode on Sam opening up the mystery box, and we obviously don't get to see what it is. It's called a cliffhanger, folks. And we get a little post-credit action of John Walker making his own Captain America shield with his medals kind of welded onto it. And in the comics, John Walker creates the alias of US Agent after getting stripped of the title of Captain America. This episode was absolutely awesome, and it lived up to the hype because Marvel was the ones saying themselves that, this is a huge fucking episode, get ready for this. It delivered some great fight sequences, but even more importantly, it advanced the plot and had some really dramatic moments, great screenwriting, and some pretty damn fine acting. This show has been doing a fantastic job of social commentary with using just the right amount of subtlety. Now, really quick, here are some predictions.
What's in the box?
Well, I'll tell you, Brad Pitt, that's what we're gonna call Sam's new vibranium super suit. I mean, this is basically confirmed at this point. One thing I want to talk about is the wrap-up of Zemo's story, because I don't think that's the last we're gonna see of Zemo. It might be the last of what we're gonna see from him in this series, but definitely not the last we're seeing from him. He's escaping the fucking raft, come on. One thing I am surprised about is the Sharon Carter sort of, I'm not gonna call it a heel turn, but joining the Flag Smashers. It makes sense because, in a sense, she's also a displaced person, but just in a different way, so it's understandable that she empathizes with them. One question is, what's in that box that French bastard delivered to the Flag Smashers? They said it was going to level the playing field, but all I saw was, grenades and guns. And where's the next episode going to go? Where are we going to start off? Is it going to be more of a hostage standoff, and, Sam's going to try and do the same approach where he tries to talk Carly off the ledge, and she might not trust him because what happened last time, which is fair. And how is Walker going to get involved? Is he just going to burst onto the scene and try and get, more retribution for the killing of Lamar? And also, where the fuck is the power broker? Where is the power broker in all this? We have one episode left and we still haven't seen the power broker. There's one episode left and it has so much left to wrap up. I'm honestly just excited. I'm excited to see how they're gonna do it, how they're gonna pull it off. This show had a little bit of a slow start, but it has evolved quickly into one of my favorite things Marvel has ever done. It's a fantastic plot line, great action, and delivers on the big promise that Marvel gave us for these series, which is, it's movie style effects, movie style production, and it's awesome. And they gave us Zemo fist bumping, which is just a great meme. They knew what they were doing there. That's all I have, but make sure to comment below and let me know what your theories are. Tweet at me, do all that fun stuff. I'd love to have more of a discussion with all of you guys about what the fuck is going on in this series. Make sure to like, subscribe, and all of that fun stuff as well. I'm Ken Jack. See you next time.